Oh, we live.
Hey,
Hey.
hey,
Da-da-da.
we just doing a little singing, just getting a little karaoke action in before we dive in. But we're here. Welcome everybody back to another episode of The Good Life. Got Kobi here in the building. Say what's up, Kobi.
What's going on? What's go? All right, all
He's
right.
just
I'm gonna come up with an intro. I swear, one of these days it's gonna happen. I'm trying
look,
different things.
we're already at episode 80, so we gotta probably get to that point sooner rather than later of coming up with the intro.
I'll get it. I'll get it by 100 for sure. For sure.
Or maybe at 100. Maybe we debut. We have plans of debuting a lot of things at 100. I
That's
feel
right.
like.
That's right. Should we tease it a little bit? Should we let them know?
Yeah, let's tease it, man. Tease it. Like episode 100 is going to be a big show, guys. Thank you for everybody that's been following us. We're just going to dive right in here. Thanks for everybody that's been following us and listening to the Good Life visual audio podcast on all the platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, all those places. We appreciate you. We're on episode 80. We've had a couple seasons. We lost a couple people, lost a couple,
That's right.
lost a couple
Shout out.
brothers. Right? Shout out to Kev. Shout out to Stu. We lost a couple brothers along the way, but we're still here. And then Kabi and I were like, you know what? When episode 100 gets here, we're going to really turn it up. We're going to really do some things where we start introducing more people, more guests, right? We might be the staples, but we're going to keep bringing people on and introduce more of the people in the health and wealth space, people that are searching for the good life, designing the life that they don't need a break from. We want to introduce more of those people. So if you're listening and you think you want to be on the show, you got some information that we need to hear, now's the time to DM us. Hit us up. Let us know, because we're going to start planning for this over the next 20 episodes. But that's what we're teasing. Ain't that right, Kabi?
That's gonna be fun, man. I'm actually looking forward to it. We wanted to make sure we've got the base. Now you're the cook here on here, so you let me know. But the base formula, there's got to be a word for that. I feel like there's a word for that. Where you have like
The mother sauce.
There we go. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the chef right there.
There it is.
Stay in the kitchen, stay whipping. So yeah, the mother sauce. We want to make sure it's correct. It's good to go for several generations. And then we definitely want to make sure we get some other experts on here. I am getting excited for that. Looking around, I already chatted, kind of with a couple of folks, put the big toe in there. So excited to see
the big toe.
Only the big toe. Got it. Big toe goes first. It leads the way. So excited to see if you are listening to this and you feel like you know somebody, or maybe you, my friend, are somebody that would love to get on here and spill some real knowledge because you're tired of the garbage that we're spilling, or you want to add to the mother sauce. Feel free to let us know. You can hit us up individually. You can comment on wherever you're watching this. We will see it.
That's right.
We're looking.
We're always looking. We're always watching. If you see on your screen there, you could always sign up for our email list too, right? We're building a community in Facebook. We got an email list. We want to keep everybody connected. So that's the way you stay connected. If you have somebody that you just want to recommend, you got a good friend of yours, you got somebody that you like, that you follow, that really is dropping the type of information that we're talking about, guess what? Send them our way. Send them our direction. Because that's what this is about. It's about collaboration. We're not competing. We just want to collaborate with people so we can get you the information, again, to design the life that you don't need a break from. I stole that from you, brother.
Please. You don't even need to give me credit, dog. Just once, just like once in a while.
One time.
That's it. Mark this episode. This is the time. Hey, I cited my work back in episode 80. Go check it.
That's it. Because I sure have been using it on other platforms.
I love it, dude. Oh man. Honestly, I was on LinkedIn the other day and I saw somebody who was literally a life. I was like, I know I'm not the only one who's ever said that, but I was like, man. I understand artists who get songs or verses ripped from them. Shout out Drake. All right. And and they'll feel some sort of way about it.
Listen,
it's great.
There's a good saying: good artists copy, great artists steal. Good artists copy, great artists steal. So,
same thing for scientists and inventors.
It's very true, though.
Yeah.
It's very true. And we herald them as great. I know somebody in the comments going to be like, that's not great. That's why they're thieves. Da, 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 da.
Nah, man. Shout out. You made it a hot line. I made it a hot song.
Woo!
Yep, yep,
Where's
yep,
the
yep.
bum, 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 bum?
I've been packing, so I may have packed it somewhere. I don't know where it is, to be honest. So we're
Doug,
gonna have to go manual today.
you're packing.
Yes, sir.
We'll
Yeah, we'll
talk
talk about
offline.
that.
We'll
Talk
talk
about that.
offline.
Yep,
But
yep, yep.
man, transitions are great though. We get a chance to move, see other places, experience
Oh yeah,
new sides of life. That's always
yeah,
important.
yeah. If you're
So
listening to this though, and you're Southern California, keep an eye out. Keep an eye out. I'm
boy's
coming.
coming down. He's coming down. I left Southern California, bro.
Yeah,
You know
man.
why? Because it does rain. Tony lied. It does
I
rain.
like rain. I like rain.
I know. Some people
I
do.
like a little rain. It's nice. It's nice. It washes things away, brings new beginnings. It's nice. Rain is good. Rain is good.
Look at that metaphor. That was good,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
Let's jump into the episode,
Let's do it.
man.
Let's do it.
What are we talking about today?
That's a great question, sir. Let me check Hembo's list. What we're talking about today, something we mentioned last episode that I think is incredibly important, which is to dive into the health and wealth industry a little bit and to examine who are the players. Where do you go when you have a question? Who's the best source for X, Y, and Z? So that's what we're going to dive into a little bit today.
Guys, I think today's going to be a super impactful episode. Like this is the episode to save, to send to a friend, because we alluded to it last week on the episode that like sometimes we just don't know who to go to, right? Sometimes in this finance space, in the health space, like we are asking questions of people that don't have the answers. That's what happens. And then we get discouraged because we're not getting the answer that we want, but we're actually just talking to the wrong person. There's people in our fields that have different expertise, and it's our job to let you know who might be best suited to help you, guide you, fix your problem, all of those types of things. So we're going to dive in today, talk about the health and wealth industries and the professions around them. So who's up first, man?
Man, let's go on the health side. On the health side, I think it's important. I actually wanted to start more on the biomedical side with everybody knows the family physician, right? The family physician, it's probably the most overworked, I would assume. I've never been a family physician, so correct me if I'm wrong, but family physicians they treat people of all ages, and they're kind of like the gatekeepers, the first line of defense, the first people most people go to. Yeah, that's start right there. I actually want to jump a little bit because I think we can lump a couple of these. Family physician, internal medicine physician, right? Same as family physician, except they only work with adults.
Is that literally the definition? Because like I'm about to get some education. I've seen that internal medicine name pop up, but like that's the same as like primary doctor.
That's to say they do a lot of the same things, but they mostly work with adults.
Okay.
Only, yeah.
Got it.
And then you have pediatricians who focus on treating children to young adults. So it's kind of like a little.
So every family would have all three. Like if you're a standard family, husband, wife, 2 kids, right? You probably have family physician.
My man said 2 kids. You definitely have a family physician. That's probably the person that's been giving you your shots, and and you've been checking in on them, and that's where you request your kids' records for school and all that stuff. That's the name you sign on all their school papers. I'm sure you've been through that. But not necessarily an internal medicine physician. They may, but probably do have a pediatrician.
Got it. So a family physician and a pediatrician, probably most families
most likely
have. Got it.
Yeah. And then obviously you have I always this word always fumbles on my tongue, but geriatrics. Geriatric. There
There
we
we
go.
go.
Geriatric.
Geriatrics.
Yeah. There we go. There we go. And obviously, let's focus on older adults.
Got you. Geriatrics. So
So let's get
again,
that across.
they don't have any specific expertise, so to speak, except for the kind of psychographic, the age
The
demographic.
population.
Got you.
That's their expertise, the population. Because what at different stages, right? Whether you're an adult, a child, an aging adult, you face a lot of the same similar sort of issues, right? So yeah, they do have specialties besides family physicians. I think the rest kind of do specialize. And then we'll get into more specific specialties. You want to hop into that now, or switch over and then hop
Uh,
into that?
so let's switch over. Let's look at something on the financial side. Let's come back.
Let's do that. I'll be curious who like the equivalent of that is. So we have financial advisors, financial coach, financial planners.
Let's
Where do you
start
want
with
to start?
let's start with the advisor, because the advisor is the most common, right? It's the most common. Now, if we were to equate it to health, it's not always the most seen, right? Like the one that you're gonna actually go to the most, but it is the most common of people that are talking finance. Like even a lot of times, and many of you that have been following the show, right? No, I always say I'm not a financial advisor. I'm more of a financial coach and more of a financial planner, right? More on that side. But people still will typically call me a financial advisor, and I often correct them, right? But at the end of the day, that's what people know of as that financial professional that's going to help you build wealth or help you, right, solidify some of your goals. But as
Well, let's give them that definition then.
go for it.
Financial advisor by the black and white letters is a professional who provides expertise for clients' decisions around money matters, personal finances, investments. Retired advisors must pass. So registered advisors, that is, not retired. They might be retired and then be registered. But registered advisors must pass one or more exams and be properly licensed in order to carry out business with clients.
That's right. So that is a textbook definition. You see, it covered so many areas. It said personal finance, money matters.
Yeah, what is that?
What,
What are we talking about?
what's a money matter? Again, those are the things that get confusing. In my definition, I'll add on and I would highlight the investment part of it. That's what I would highlight. I would highlight the investment part. Yes, they will help you in some of the personal finance things to eventually get to the investment part, because the key is what it said on the back end. They have to have something called a securities license. There's a word out there called a fiduciary, right? A fiduciary is that on the list, bro? Like, is a fiduciary on the list? Do you see that anywhere?
A
Because
fiduciary is
yeah,
not, but I mean, a fiduciary is not unique to to a financial services, correct?
it's not, but that's where it's most commonly used, right? From my experience, I don't know where else do you hear fiduciary?
Real estate.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah, you have a fiduciary responsibility is what I typically hear.
Sure,
Not
it's
the
this.
title fiduciary. I didn't even realize that was just like one title, like
So
fiduciary.
yeah, underneath kind of being the advisor, you're a fiduciary, meaning that again, in the same sense of a fiduciary responsibility, meaning you have to have the client's best interest and not your company or yours best interest for what you're selling. Meaning you have to show them options, meaning you have to actually compare and talk about the fees and talk about all of the back end of the products and back end of their options. That's being a fiduciary. It's saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Client, I care about you. So yes, I may represent this company. However, I have a fiduciary responsibility, right, to be able to point you in the right direction by giving you all the information that you need,
Right,
not
right.
not withholding anything, right?
So I think what if I was to hear that, what would clarify it for me is a fiduciary relationship is typically what I've heard of, which is often concerns money, but the word fiduciary does not in it itself suggest financial matters. Rather, it applies to any situation which one person just places, like justifiably is placing confidence and trust in another and seeks that person's help or advice in some matter.
That's fair.
Is there?
That's Yeah, that's
So
fair.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I would take it as that, but understand, like, a lot of people in the financial space will tell you you should only sit down with the fiduciary, as,
I
or,
got you.
right, like that's how they'll say it, like, make sure they're a fiduciary. So that's just because,
Or they're
again,
bound by those responsibilities so that you
exactly.
can take. Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Right. And so that's really where that financial advisor comes in. They are securities licensed, meaning they have to take uh, a securities test, basically saying you have the ability to lose money with them. Right. They're going
Got
to
it.
put your money at risk. And so they have to create these licenses to say, hey, this person's gone through extensive training, because the securities licenses are tough, right? They're highly, highly regulated,
Yeah.
highly regulated, right? And so if you are in that position sitting down with an advisor, that's the type of stuff you're checking for, because you could lose money with them. Like, you could
So
give them all your money and lose it.
this may not, you may not, maybe you don't know this off the top, but who does not have a fiduciary relationship with their client in the financial sense? I'm guessing financial coach doesn't, financial
They
planner.
Not necessarily, right?
Right.
Because again, the fiduciary responsibility really comes because you are putting people's money at risk,
Uh-huh.
right? And there are
So
liabilities that
stockbroker,
stockbroker
investment advisor,
and
asset managers.
yeah, so investment advisors for sure. It'd be interesting to kind of clear that up. There's probably some advisors and people listening right now on LinkedIn, right? I know there's a few advisors that possibly are scrolling through this or possibly hearing this right now. Uh, it'd be interesting to know, like, hey, if you're an investment advisor, do you have a fiduciary responsibility? I mean, it's kind of speaking to somebody's integrity. You know what I mean? It's kind of speaking to somebody's integrity, but there are actual, like you said, kind of like laws that kind of bound you to do the right thing for that client. So that's a lot of what people expect when you are looking at an advisor to help you on the investment side of things. That's really the part of it. It's really, the advisor really helps with investments.
Got you. Got you. Got you. Real interesting. Kind of a side note to that fiduciary piece. Like I stated, I obviously worked in, or may not be obvious, but worked in real estate, commercial firm, then residential as well.
Mhm.
But you do have, to be clear, you do have a fiduciary responsibility to your client as an agent,
To be
which is really
honest,
interesting.
right? Honest and use integrity. Is that the basis of it in real
Yes,
estate?
yes, but also to disclose certain things, like
Gotcha.
not just be honest, but like certain things have to be disclosed regardless.
Right.
And it typically shows up quite a bit when you are representing both sides. That's when it really gets dicey.
Mm.
You have to disclose of a lot of different things. But yeah, I think that's a critical piece right there, man. You want to
Yeah.
move on?
Yeah. Move on. Jump back to health, because that was good on the financial side. That advisor is very similar to what we just kind of paralleled, because it's so common on this side. So what about on the health side? Go back into some of those
O-
specialties.
On the health side, we start really getting into, when again biomedical, we start to get into the specialty doctors, the allergists, the dermatologists, you know, the gynecologist, the cardiologist, and we keep going and going and going. Now, truthfully, kind of don't want to cover that because that is if you have an issue, most likely what's going to happen is you'll go to your family physician
They're gonna.
and they're going to refer you to one of these individuals. The side I think might be more interesting for our viewers, and one that they may not be as familiar with, is like those that aren't traditionally seen as falling under the umbrella of biomedicine.
Mm.
So we could cover those in a little bit, and that would be like the chiros, the nutrition. Well, I guess nutritionists are kind of
Well,
depends how you
well,
look at it.
well, no, because like in general, like I've never seen a nutritionist, and I don't think most people have, right? Because I don't know that we know how important that side is or what they would actually do. So like a nutritionist probably would fall into one of those categories of like, hey, like when do I go see one of those? Like
Yeah.
when, why? Because again, isn't there some stat about like how much actual like medical doctors like learn about nutrition? It's like very, very small in their studies.
Very, very little. So really interesting. Ash, put this clip somewhere in here. Um, Carnival MD or Carnivore MD. I forget his real name, but that's his name on social media. Has this clip on his social media somewhere where he talks about he's gone through the entire process, right? Traditional medicine, shares all of his degrees, and then tells how much nutritional education he was exposed to or education about the root causes of disease. Like he claims, if I believe correctly, and you'll see the clip, so put the clip in here, Ash, but he claims it's like zero or very close to zero, like very, very close to zero, which is why he took um such an un like a non-traditional path of
Sure.
really diving deep into this stuff and essentially being fairly counter to what is prescribed. So nutritionists, and I think this is coming back to this a little bit. I think this is one of the interesting things we see both on the financial side and on the health side is a lot of these titles are came to be because of the government approval, right? So it comes down to regulation. It comes down to what do we like, what can we track, what can we approve, right? So and there's a lot of, obviously there's a ton of value to that, right? You want to have confidence that the person that you're going to see is good at what it is qualified.
Right.
I think where we get into trouble is where we look at what does that qualification process look like, um, because I think we kind of struggle to cover, and then what is the public perception of what that qualification actually means,
Mm.
right? So I'm curious, like what, like I don't know, maybe off the top of your head, and I'll bring up one of your favorite guys, but what is Dave Ramsey's qualification, right? I- that may be a clip right there, but but I'll be curious. Like, is he a financial advisor? I know he studied finance. I at some school at some point, right?
He is not licensed in anything. We know that.
Okay,
Okay.
okay,
He's not licensed in anything. And that's actually one of the big kind of things, right? Could be and I go back and forth, and we haven't gone fully in on the Dave Ramsey side, but he knows my position. And I also know his position that he has helped him, right? Like Dave Ramsey has helped you in the early stages of your financial life, which he has
absolutely.
which he has done for many people, and we cannot negate that. Here is this the Dave Ramsey clip? This is it. Here we go. So here's my take on Dave Ramsey, right? Just because Kobi brought it up. Dave Ramsey has a market. He has an audience. He has people that, just like every brand, every business, that he speaks to. What he does is he says, hey, you are swimming in debt. You're drowning. You are at poverty level, poverty numbers, don't know what you're doing. I'm going to help you get your head above water. That's what he does. That is his greatness. That is why people listen to him, because they're swimming, they're drowning. They're like, man, I don't know how to do this money thing. They listen to him. He gets them to the next level and says, hey, I'll get your head above water. However, Dave Ramsey cannot take you from your head above water to wealth. He can't do it. The concepts are different. The concepts do not cause for the same thing. There's a book, I think it's behind me somewhere. It says, what got you here will not get you there. Right? What got you here will not get you there. Dave Ramsey's concepts will get you here, but they're not going to get you there. And if this is the level we stop at learning money and listening to Dave Ramsey, we will not get here. You need new concepts. You need different things. All debt is not bad debt. Cash value life insurance is good. Here to there, right? It just depends for who. It's not good for everyone. Nothing is good for everyone. However, what got you here will not get you there. That's my Dave Ramsey clip.
Hey man, listen, God bless. God bless. God bless. I will say this. I feel like you're absolutely correct. And in his market, or his market also happens to be most Americans.
Because that's most American, and it's understood. It's understood. Right. But we come across people that are trying to go from here to there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's where we come across. And those are the ones that are getting stuck in ideology that does not help them do that.
Absolutely. And that's when they give you a call.
That's right.
Or hopefully before then. But
hopefully before that.
Yeah. But I get it, bro. I get it. Absolutely. I'm trying to think who's the equivalent.
Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz.
Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz. Oh gosh. Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz. Oh my gosh.
I don't know. There are no who's a prominent doctor that the masses listen to?
You might as well say Dr. Phil. I mean, where are we going here? I mean, Dr. Oz. Oh no!
But honestly, but listen, who's a doctor? That's a good question. ER back in the day was like a real doctor.
Oh man! Oh man! So this is really interesting. Oh man, Dr. Oz. Yeah, I gotta recover from that one, man. Dr. Oz.
Listen, there's no front facing. What front facing doctors are there that have the reach that are equivalent to Dave Ramsey? Like, again, no hate on the man. Like, again, his concepts are a little outdated in my opinion, and they don't help everybody get to where they got to go. But he has done a great job of helping a lot of people. He's done a great job of marketing, of building an empire, of actually teaching people some financial things that they probably didn't hear before him. Like, no hate on him. He's in, he's in 70% of Black churches, right? He's a staple. Financial Peace University, right? Like, he's there. He's made it happen. No hate. Just saying.
You need those foundational habits. But yeah, Dr. Oz, man, golly. God bless.
God bless Dr. Oz. He's actually running for like state senator or something like
that. There is no equivalent.
Yeah.
Because what Dave Ramsey does when he puts out concepts that this is the difference in the industry. You can put out financial concepts when you're not licensed, right? Or you're not advising somebody on what to do with their finances or what investments to make. You can put out financial concepts that most don't agree with or some don't agree with, and you will not be, the hand of the industry gods will not come down on you. I don't think it's the same way for health. And when I say health, I'm talking specifically biomedicine, right? So I say biomedicine because, God bless Dr. Sebi, but we the documentary didn't get to come out, and hopefully we won't get smite for this. But
I heard it's still coming though.
Is it? I at this point I'll be wary of whatever comes out. But not just him. I'll say you can and Ash, make sure you put this in here like a clip thing. But Dr. Max Gerson, censored for curing cancer, right? A few others, but that's the one, and that's a full book right there. You can pick up on Amazon and read for yourself. But
is that the grape cure? Is that what that is? The grape cure?
The grape cure is separate. You can pick that up too. That's different. That's another doctor. I don't know if she was fully sanctioned from Australia, I believe, or South America. But there's a few like that, and those individuals do not meet stardom. They're not put out there for public consumption. They're not, because they're, I don't know why. I don't have a because, but what I do know is that's what happens. So if they were to come out with stuff like that, there's a lot of fear around it. And I'm not saying that this is what people should be doing or these people, but I'm one for freedom of information, right? Why can I, as an adult who has a condition, why can I not seek second, third, fourth, fifth opinions? I have to seek second, third, fourth opinions within the scope of the approved population. That's insane.
It makes sense. Like,
that's insane. It's my life, right? So that's the big difference, and that's why I don't think there is one like that. And that's where I think actually the next person on our list, and they're, because of that, right? So what what Dave Ramsey deals with is like financial habits. I believe like that's what he really is talking about. It's like,
sure,
you buying fast food all the time is not helping you. Whatever those habits are, they're not helping you, right?
Sure.
So who's doing that on the health side? I think that breaks down to a couple of different hats, right? It breaks down to, I would say, predominantly health coaches, because health coaches spend a lot more time with you than trainers. Trainers, you go to a gym, so might as well be a good time to give you the textbook definition that Hembo found. But trainers, right? An individual who has gained certification, and there's like 3-4 widely recognized certifications. There's ACE, there's NASM, there's NSCA. Those are like the 3 kind of like biggest ones, and there might be 1 or 2 more. But again, this is about regulation, who have gained a certification showing that they have achieved a level of competence for creating and delivering safe and effective exercise programs. So, and they usually typically meet with you one-on-one in some sort of setting, and they deliver the program that they've been certified to deliver. Now, with the internet now, right? What's happening is, like, those certifications are kind of like, because there's a lot of different types of specific certifications now, right? So, and then you have a health coach who is, oh, I hate this definition, Hemba.
Well, stop. We'll stop. Well, let me pause real quick before you even go into that, because I think we can both touch on the financial coach and the health coach side.
Let's make it happen.
It's similar, but let's take a step back, because one of the things, as far as trainers, I'm curious about, if you've seen this, are the traditional trainers that like have this certifications, do they get like pissed off nowadays? Or are they upset nowadays because they don't, like, that certification doesn't mean as much, and people are looking at getting their information online or other sources? Like, is there bitterness towards the new age online trainer from old school trainers? Have you seen any of this in the industry?
I definitely have seen some. Obviously can't speak for the whole, but I definitely have seen some, especially those that have the tougher certifications, like the National Strength and Conditioning Association, CSCS, which it's pretty tough. Like, you're diving into some high level anatomy, kinesiology, things of that nature. And they feel like there's a lot of unqualified individuals out there given programs, who and that's watering down the industry, one, and two, kind of stealing their business a little bit, right? But this is really tough, because where trainers are seen a little differently is kind of, I think it's more of like, can you show me what you did, right? So when most people are looking at trainers, they don't really understand what the certifications are.
Sure.
What they're looking for is like, oh, that person looks like they know what they're doing, right? Or that, by 2 ways: either they literally look the part, or they say enough words that I don't understand that kind of makes sense, that I now believe they know what they're talking about, and now they can show me what it is that they're doing. Now, what's really tough though is like, in a way, you can learn from experience. Take, for example, the calisthenics movements, right? That came out of New York, the parks, etc. Like, obviously, calisthenics is not invented in New York. I mean, they were doing calisthenics in ancient Greek and Greece and Rome, right? And probably even much further back when they didn't have equipment. Um, but though there's a lot of individuals that taught what they have done for 10, 20 years, right? And they clearly know what they're talking about because they've done it, and they know more than the 18, 19, even 25-year-old kid that just read a book and took a test and now is certified.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? So,
Understood.
and I think there's a lot of that going on when you look at the whole biomedical field in general, which is why people push for more regulation, more tests, more red line, etc., in hopes that they produces more qualified professionals.
Makes sense. And that I'm glad we spoke on this because I knew that there were similarities and parallels to the health and the wealth space, because that's very much so how it is on the wealth side, right? Very much in this financial space, that like older advisors specifically, right? People that have been in the industry, older financial planners, right? Even I transparent moment. I get a little uncomfortable. I know I'm not an advisor. I get a little uncomfortable when I say I'm like a financial planner, because people actually have a CFP, right? They're actually certified financial planners. It is a designation that they have. And they get, like, again, I've seen it. They get a little butt hurt when it's like, you're not a CFP. Like, you're just like, you're giving similar advice or whatever the case is, or similar coaching or similar information, but you don't have the designation, and you're taking our business, or you're not really in that space. And I'm empathetic to it. But at the end of the day, I think we're just moving into a time where the designation, the title that you have, is not as important than the results that you're getting from people or the information that you're giving to people. I really think we have to get away from that. I just see it on both sides. Like, I really see it in this financial space where people that have been in the industry for a long time are just bitter about the movement and kind of what's happening, and they're they're losing business, in all honesty, right? It's harder for them to get, because of people that can come in the industry and have results and understand some things from a personal standpoint, formulate some things, not just from a textbook or from somebody giving us a designation to say that we can do it, but to actually go work with the people. And if you compare notes, probably saying the same things, probably saying very similar things. It's just they value that title a bunch. And I know that happens on our side, so I was just curious to hear if it happened on the other side as well.
Well, absolutely, especially on the trainer type level, right?
Right.
Now, where they've succeeded, and I'll be curious what that is on the health side, but where they've succeeded is drawing lines around on the biomedical side, the fully recognized, like, and that obviously, I mean, it's highly, highly protected, right? So,
Yeah.
and again, for good reason, right? Uh, there's still definitely some frauds out there for sure. You
In
hear
every
in
industry. In
every
every
industry, right? For sure. So they've definitely succeeded in doing that quite a
Yeah.
bit.
But it definitely would be hard in the biomedical side because, you know, that's where they just discredit you right up front.
Straight up.
This guy's not a doctor. And like, that holds weight in our society. It
Oh
really
yeah,
does. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It's like,
yeah.
I think eventually though it will change. I mean, obviously you're probably never going to be able to prescribe medication if that is a thing, maybe your own
Right.
form. I don't know, but
So one of the biggest distinctions, well, two, I think two big distinctions is, can you prescribe medication and can you perform surgery?
mm,
Those are the two massive distinctions, right? Honestly, when you start to look at it. And I would love for somebody who's actually been through um, medical school and knows the path very well to come on and describe kind of what the difference is on those paths. the path to being able to do surgeries, I know for a fact, is much longer than any of the other paths. Well, maybe I don't know for a fact, but I suspect, based on what I've heard and talked to people who are on that path, and the path to followed by the path to prescribe prescription, and then it's kind of like everybody else. You know, not necessarily you can't prescribe, you can't do surgery, but you're still recognized by the biomedical industry as like a legitimate doctor, right? A white coat, if you will.
Sure.
Yeah, but you get a little people get a little confused when you think about, for example, what about in TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, where there, as far as I know, there's no surgery per se, but there is prescription of what you would call medication, herbs,
Right.
right? So you can prescribe herbs. And I know in the state of California, for example, registered TCM doctors, or most people know them as acupuncturists, but however, acupuncturist is only one of like 5 distinctions,
Bro,
right?
go into that, because I just learned, like, I've heard you say, traditional Chinese medicine, like TCM, but I always assumed that it was other things. And I look at acupuncture like an acupuncturist, right? Like, but dive into that, man. Like, because that's interesting. So those things are the same.
So TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, is an entire system.
Understood.
All right. So it's an entire system that utilizes different modalities, such as it utilizes movement, specifically qigong. It utilizes massage, uh, tenua. I don't know exactly how it's said, but massage, body work. It utilizes herbal prescriptions. It utilizes nutrition, right? And it utilizes acupuncture, along with cupping, and all of those other modalities kind of fall under, acupuncture, body or body work. It utilizes that entire system or of modalities to bring harmony back to a body that's in disharmony, hence disease and health. So it's in and of itself an entire system. But in the United States, most people know them as acupuncturists, because it comes down to, how do you make your money, right? Most make their money by prescribing acupuncture, or herbs, one of the two, but mostly acupuncture. Most people go say I'm going to see the acupuncturist, right? They don't go say I'm going to see the TCM doctor or just doctor, right?
So is it possible? Is it possible that, like, someone could just go see the, lack of better term, the TCM circuit and be okay? Like, is what happens in China, Chinese medicine, that, like, they just have those 4, 5 things and that's it?
And be okay? Well, absolutely. And it depends on what your condition is as well, right? Like, for sure, I mean, TCM is very capable of dealing with anything, right? And I've never been to China, but it is used in conjunction with Western medicine, and the distinction being kind of like, it's the lens that the body, they're kind of 2 different systems of looking at the body, all right, and looking at health. And there's maybe some overlap, but is it possible, like, does one need to, I mean, who used perfectly fine for thousands of years, right? So but there's a lots of different, when you're talking about the more like quote unquote serious situations, cancer, etc., all those things, there's a lot. There's a move, a push to utilize both of those uh, to get the patient to where they need to go, right? So if there is a modality that's not well practiced in Western medicine that can help this individual, why are we restraining that?
It's a good
If our
question.
job is to help the person and this is going to help them, why are we saying, hey, we're not going to do this?
Is it from a lack of knowledge? Is it from like doctors don't know they can, it's kind of like their name is on the line if they send you over to somebody and
Well, it's regulation.
yeah.
I would say number one, it's regulation because again, like we said, there's for a good reason, there's a lot of regulation, right? Like we need to draw certain boundaries around this because of X, Y, and Z. Um, did they not know? I'm sure, yes, as well. So maybe that's number two. Um, because if you look at the history of even like how people now, came to accept chiropractic care, I would say this chiropractic care. Um, I'll say it was accepted before acupuncture, for example, because partly because it's less threatening to the already established system,
Mm.
right? Partly. Now that's me reading some history and looking at how it was treated when it first came over and how it came over, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a little bit of that as well. And the idea being there hasn't been enough of the type of research that we accept over here done on that stuff, right? Like that's a bunch of woo woo, et cetera, et cetera. So
And that's what it is. People need the education, right? They need the information to say that this actually would help or does help. And then people willing to go do it, right? People willing to try it. People willing to put themselves in, right, in the TCM circuit.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, and there are certain conditions that recent research has shown is better treated with less what should I say, with less sort of negative results or negative side effects than biomedicine. For example, let's take pain, right? There's obviously we know there's been a huge spike, or there's been what's a I won't say narcotics epidemic, right? But of pain medicine being abused, let's call it that.
Yeah.
For some reason I'm blanking on that, but pain medicine has been heavily abused, right? There's here you have non-pain medicine, right, or different modalities that can be used to treat pain without prescribing people heavy, oxycontin and Vicodin and all of these different things that are highly, addictive,
Yeah.
right? So putting people in those situations, um, whereas you can treat them now. Obviously, if you just had a very serious situation, or you're going through surgery or something like that, you're gonna need, or I would think you would opt for those things,
Right.
right? But it's all very temporary.
That makes
Should be
sense.
at least.
Should be. That makes sense.
Yeah.
As let's dive into the health coach and the financial coach side of things as we kind of wrap this up, because as everyone knows and people that are listening, like this is what we do, right? The financial
Factual.
coach.
Factual.
Financial
Factual.
coach. Kobi is a health
Man,
coach.
we might need a part two of this, man, because there's a couple of other ones we're gonna need to dive into, like asset managers, brokers, CPAs, So, but
There are.
yeah,
Yeah,
we're gonna,
I totally forgot about the whole tax side, the CPA, the tax planner,
yeah,
the S. Like, there's a bunch.
I have some questions around those for sure.
Yeah.
So, let's finish up with the coaching side of things. On the health side, you know, the coach is a very special relationship in that it's built around a coach has the knowledge of perhaps a trainer, perhaps of a nutritionist, but there's also, but the emphasis is on the relationship. The emphasis is on the guiding you through step by step. So the best way I can put it is, when I was a trainer at a gym, I would see people maybe 3 times a week for an hour.
Mm.
As a coach now, working on my platform, people have access to me 24 hours a day. Right. So when they have a question, when stuff comes up, when there's an issue, when there's, and we're looking at their entire 24 hours. What are all the things that you're doing? How's your sleep? How's your how are all of those different things impacting
Yeah.
what's going on? And it's actually forced me to dive into a whole bunch of different areas because I need to understand how all these different things interact. So that's on the health coach side. On the financial coach side, I want to read Hembo's definition and then let you expand or explain that a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is, financial coaches help people focus on their money related goals and work towards them. They're not licensed. While anyone can technically call themselves one, some may have received professional training and certifications. So what's the distinction there, bro? What do the people need to know?
Again, I wouldn't take it to any form of designation or certification. That's not what you're looking for when you're in the financial coaching side. What you're looking for is an actual coach that has expertise, form of knowledge about things that you care about with your money, and that work well with you. You see, coaching, in my opinion, right? But coaching, it's like in sports. Like, you have to get along with your coach. We've all seen sports teams, right? Where the player and the coach do not get along. It does not make for a happy thing. Now they're stuck there.
KD, Steve Nash.
How you could throw out a bunch of them, right? Because there's a bunch. But like, you see that over time that doesn't work. Now they're bound together because they get paid to do that, right? But at the end of the day, it really is a coach that brings the best out of the player. And not every coach brings the best out of the player. When you're looking for a financial coach, we are helping you understand your money, understand what thoughts, right? Like what you should be doing according to what your goals are. I think that was part of that definition there of like your money matters, or right, according to what the goals.
Money related goals.
There we go. Money related goals. Right? That is true. That's what you're coming to us because you have some goals. You have some things you want to get done. You have some retirement numbers you're trying to hit. You have some visions that you want to have, later in life, or buying a house, or, I don't know, going on that vacation, getting married, whatever those things are that are larger expenses or things that you are paying attention to. You need someone to help guide you down the path, guide you down. What are the first things I should be thinking about? What are the next things I should be thinking about? We're not recommending products to you all the time. We may know some of the products, but we're not always recommending products. We might just be recommending strategies, how to think about something, how you can navigate your financial life so you don't have to do it on your own. And you got to find a coach that works well with you, that is knowledgeable, that speaks to you in a way that you need to be spoken to, that holds you accountable in the way you need to be held accountable, that really helps you down your financial path. It's not about them picking the right investment for you. That's your advisor. They're the ones steering you in that direction. But we all have money goals, things we're trying to get to. That's where you use us. That's where you use me as a financial coach. It's saying, listen, I'm trying to go here. Man, I'm looking at my money, got some debt. How do I get out of this debt? Go see Dave Ramsey. Jokes, but all serious. He actually does a very good job with a debt snowball or debt avalanche. Does a great job. But anyway, a coach is there to guide you, navigate you, help you get to that goal. And that's what you use us for. But the relationship is important. Just like Kobi said on the health side, right? You get more access, you spend more time. Well, you want to spend more time with the people that coach you well, that talk to you at your level. That's a big one, right? Talking to you at your level. There's no talking down, there's no talking above, right? It's just talk to you at your level. where you are at financially and help you then navigate this financial world to help you reach those goals. So that's a financial coach, man.
That's dope, man. That's dope. That and I think a lot of people's biggest concern is actually I don't really know what a lot of people's biggest concern is, but I would assume this. It's that clarifying the relationship piece of it, that we're not just here to push products all the time, but we're here to help with the strategy, with the X, Y, and Z. I think that's a critical piece of it, because I would assume that people think about that, whether that's their top concern or not. I would assume that that definitely comes up. So I think
Yeah.
that's a key
All,
clarification.
all the time. Everybody's like, am I doing the right thing? Sometimes people come to me just for validation if they're doing the right thing,
Mm,
right? It's just, hey, I'm putting money here. I'm putting money here. I was
right,
told to do this.
right.
Is that the right thing? It's just
Right,
strategy.
right, right, right,
Yeah.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you do the radio show that you don't popularize, right? The radio show you don't put out is what's happening, where people call in and ask about ask Dave Ramsey about what's going down.
Exactly. I do it individually, one on one. Eventually,
Shit, you
probably.
might need to start putting that out there for real.
That's what I'm saying. I probably should create some type of content around that, because that's a lot of what happens. It's like you're already doing stuff. Listen, people are already doing stuff with their money. You've been doing stuff with your money.
Right, right.
You just probably haven't had the right strategy. You might have had a strategy from your parents, you might have had a strategy from a coworker or some peers or the internet or some book you read, right? You might have strategy then, but then you get a little lost. You get a little confused. You hear a bunch of new information. You're like, is this really the right strategy? Like, I know I was doing this, but is this really going to help me? Because
Yeah,
I'm a little confused about. And you just need some validation of like, no, you're going the right direction, or here's some things to think about. Maybe you should think about this. Maybe you should look at what your actual motivation is for saving money, right? I just this is where we'll kind of wrap up. I just told a young lady today that I was talking to, and she's younger lady, right? Like early 20s, right? Like she is saving a good amount of money for her age, like a really good amount of money for her age. And I warned her, I just said something that, again, might be like kind of counterintuitive to some people, but I was picking up this energy of like, she wasn't fully happy with like what was happening in her financial life. She's saving a bunch of money. I was like, hey, maybe you should save a little bit less so that you don't have resentment behind saving money down the line.
mm,
Like people actually, when you do so much good stuff and you're like on the straight and narrow and you're saving a large amount of your income and you're young, and then you all of a sudden hit a certain age and you're like, man, why am I saving all this money? Like I don't even want to do it. Matter of fact, I'm just gonna go to Italy. I'm just gonna drop 10. I'm gonna clear out my savings because life is meant to live. Like, and we get to that stage if we're not careful. And that's what I
yeah,
was kind of seeing in her. It's like, hey, like, you could always back it down a little bit and let some more go into your checking. You know
right,
that, right? Like,
right.
and that's a coaching strategy. That's not something you tell everyone, like, hey, don't save as much as you're saving. But it's like understanding, like, is this the right strategy for you to make sure that you get to where you got to go?
That's huge. That's huge. That's huge, because people are out here preaching diets, preaching financial uh gotta do this, must do this. By the end of the day, the real answer on both sides, whether it's health or wealth, is it depends. It depends. I can't tell you exactly what you should eat. I don't know you, right? Which is why, man, I would love at some point to turn this um and answer some real life questions, man. I think it'll be dope to get some real
Episode
start
episode
diving in.
100. Episode
100,
100.
100. We got to answer some questions. Oh man, that's it. Well, listen, that's it for me, man. I'm talked out. Let's make it happen.
Likewise, I think we are going to have a part two. Are we settling on a part two?
Part two.
Part two. And we'll
Yeah,
get,
there's some other players we need to cover.
there definitely are some other players that we need to cover. We didn't talk to anybody in the tax field, and most people have tax questions, all honesty. Right? I think a lot of people got tax questions about what to do. So we got to talk about some of those things. And I'm sure there's some other people on the health side that like
Yeah.
again,
And we got
you
to
are.
bring some of these people on after episode 100. We'll bring some of these folks on.
That's right, episode 100. Guys, keep sticking around. Don't like not listen to the next 20 episodes just because you're waiting on episode 100. Okay, like we still need your support. We still need you to like and comment and leave us a comment and a review on Apple iTunes or whatever. But like,
Hey, cuz, why you never listen to my show? Oh, I was gonna tap in at episode 100.
that's all they're waiting for. They're tired of hearing us. They just want to hear other people. So let's not do that. We're gonna keep it funky fresh for y'all. Funky fresh.
Fair enough. Fair enough. If you're above the age of 35.
Or under, I don't know.
Nah, 20-some-year-olds ain't saying no funky fresh. Man.
We're not. That was not a funky fresh saying. I can't.
No.
It's not it. That's okay.
No.
That's okay.
That's hilarious.
But either way, we're going to sign off, guys. Another episode of The Good Life. Again, for real, share this. Like I said, this was something that people probably need to hear as far as some of these differences in the health and wealth space. And we're going to come back next week and talk the exact same thing, part 2, and give you some more info on who you should be seeing for what. Until then, we're going to sign off of The Good Life. Have a great one.
Peace.
Welcome to the